colon cancer or some of the other cancers, diabetes, a lot of the very common diseases that are plaguing our country and much of the world. And the sad thing is that it's like 80% of it is diet related, and can be not just avoided, but in many cases even reversed. And it's not, I'm just not just saying this because I like to think plants are the best thing ever, which I do.
I thought I was.
But oh, my husband just said, I thought I was the best thing ever. Get out of my class. But this is an important issue for me, and I am going to be crusading about it for probably the rest of my life. I have a question to ask you guys before we get into the actual food part. How many of you have read the China study? Nobody. Wow. All right. I would like all of you to read the China study. And to make that happen, I'm going to ask you to email me later your mailing address, and I'm going to send each of you a copy of this book so that you can read it, because it's an important read if you care about your nutrition. And if you care about how we get our information about health and nutrition. Unfortunately, we don't get it from mostly the right sources. One of the things that really pisses me off, I'm sorry about my French there, is that the American dairy industry is pretty much solely responsible for the nutritional education that happens in our classrooms across the country. Not only do they provide all of the nutritional information and structures for teaching nutrition to children, but they also provide doctors with the same information, pamphlets, posters, all kinds of guidelines, and it's all done by the American Dairy Association. So, you know, it's like follow the money. If the American Dairy Association is providing our kids with the nutritional information of the day, you have to know that what's included in that is a lot of cheese, milk, and eggs. And so I'm going to get into more nitty-gritty stuff as we move along through this process. And I don't mean tonight. We're not going to spend the whole night listening to me yammering on and on about how bad things are, because things aren't that bad. They're actually pretty good. And so I thought what we would do tonight is pay a little homage to spring and a little tip of the hat to St. Patrick's Day and the people who like to celebrate that day with something that actually is a very spring-like dish. Unfortunately, we don't have fresh peas available in our part of the world at this time of the year. You can get them in England and parts of Ireland because they're already growing them. So we're going to make the soup first, and we're going to get started on that. So does everybody have everything they need to get started? Okay, good. So if you haven't already, start chopping your onions, your garlic, and your ginger.
Was it one onion?
Well, I'm using an onion about this size. To me, this is a small onion. And that's what they said, a small onion. The recipe says. Recipes like that kind of drive me nuts because, okay, well, what's a small onion? It also says we're using 1 clove of garlic. You can see that I have 3 because I don't believe in 1 clove of garlic for anything, but that's me. So if you're not a huge fan of garlic, then just do 1 clove. If you love garlic, do however many cloves of garlic you want. And we don't have to worry about too much of a fine chop here because this is gonna, the blender, the immersion blender is gonna take care of any of the big bits. So a rough chop to the onion. or onions if you're serving 1 million people, like over in the Citron house in Fairfield.
Yes, I'm already through 2 onions.
Good.
And considering the third.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with onions.
No, you know, I mean, I don't have a problem with a little more onion. That's one of the things I love about cooking is
I've got 30. So I've got 30 ounces of peas.
okay. You could probably double.
I know
You could probably double that. If you have more peas, I would get them. If you don't, you don't. It's not gonna.
Okay, so yes, the third onion.
Yep. So, you know, before I took the nutritional, the science of plant-based nutrition course, I already thought I knew most of it, and I wasn't disappointed in my assessment of myself. But there was some science that I didn't know, and I'm glad I took the class because it reinforced everything I believed. I love it when science reinforces my belief systems. Not the other way around. And I just think it's, wow, that onion really got me. It got under my eyeglasses and is now swirling around in my eyes, and I can barely see you guys. And I think it's criminal, not intentionally, but it is criminal that more doctors don't know more about nutrition. I have more hours of study on nutrition than the average MD does. Probably most of you do too. Even if you're not a nutrition nerd like I am, and you're just sort of curious and interested. And also, you know, I get a lot of, from people when I talk about this kind of thing, people say to me, oh, well, you've got good genes. It's a good thing they're saying that to me on Facebook and not to my face, because there would be a problem. Genes play a definite role in our health, and the way our genes are expressed really depends really quite heavily on what we expose our bodies to, whether it's environmental toxins or food. Everything we put in the body, whether it's through the mouth or the nose, has an effect on us and can decide, for good or not for good, how our genes express. I don't actually know if there's heart disease in my family, because even though my mother died of a heart attack, she did not have heart disease. So her situation was a little different, but she was very overweight when she passed away. My father, I don't know very much about my father. I know that something happened to his heart once, and then he got over it or something. I don't know, but I didn't have a relationship with him, so I don't know much of anything about his medical history. So I don't know about that part. But when I was 15 years old, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and Raynaud's disease. I also have osteoarthritis. I've had one hip replaced, If I have to have the other one replaced to improve the quality of my life, I will do it. But let me say this, that it was diagnosed, God, it's got to be, I want to say 18 years ago now. I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis in my left hip. And it's only just now starting to bother me a little bit. And 18 years ago, they said, get ready, you're going to have that hip done in a couple of years. And I said, oh, no, I'm not. I want to get the new one all acclimated well and used to its neighbors before I introduce another new hip to this family. All right. Once you've got all your aromatics chopped up, little oil in your pot, throw them in and start cooking. And those of you who have been through this process with me before already know that I prefer to refer to myself as plant-based as opposed to referring to myself as a vegan, even though I am. And that's because, oh God, I didn't put on my apron. The world's gonna come to an end. I'm usually not allowed anywhere near the kitchen without my apron on. And that's my rule because I have ruined more articles of clothing in this room than pretty much anywhere else on the planet. And besides, I think aprons are cool. I love them. All right, let me get the fire on under this. So you're gonna cook up those aromatics for a few minutes, 5 or so minutes, till they start smelling real good.
Sorry, we're putting in the garlic and the onions, the garlic.
Garlic, onions, and ginger. And ginger. Ginger.
How much ginger?
You know, they want a tablespoon. I put like this much in my pot. So I put a lot because I like a lot of ginger, but like a tablespoon-ish. So like a good sized knob of ginger would work. That works better for me.
Okay, so am I peeling it? Am I like grinding it? What am I doing with
You're
it?
peeling, peel and mince. Yeah, you gotta peel the ginger. So I'm just gonna show you. All right, so also, you know, like when I have like one little piece of ginger and the ginger's like it's time to do something with it, I throw it all in. It may come out a little more gingery, but like I put about this much ginger in. Wow, that's a lot, but it's what I like. So
how much ginger did you put in? Show me. Nance?
Can you see? I'm showing. Lean in the camera. You gotta look.
Yeah. No, what happened was I was seeing somebody else on the camera.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
you gotta pin me. You gotta pin my video if you want to be able to see me in the big screen. and everybody else little.
I am, but it's on speaker view, so whoever speaks is
You can fix that.
on, but okay. Yep.
So what else goes in? It's the onions and the garlic and ginger?
Yes, that should be in there now.
Is that it?
Just for now, yep. We got to get those things going, and the onions need to start turning translucent. While that's doing that, you should be getting your cilantro, if you're using cilantro, ready.
How much?
A whole bunch of cilantro.
How much?
A bunch.
How much cilantro?
One bunch. Okay, I keep saying that. See, this is what I'm going to be putting in. A whole handful.
Okay.
And what?
Nancy, you did say you could use parsley, correct?
If you don't like cilantro, if you're one of those people that has that gene that makes cilantro taste like soap and you want to use parsley, you can.
Well, it doesn't taste like.
Less cilantro?
I'm sorry?
Can I just put in less cilantro and that's it?
Yeah. But what I'm going to do is I'm dividing my cilantro into two parts, mostly stems and mostly leaves. And I'm going to chop up the stems first. They will be going in first. Don't throw away your cilantro stems if you like cilantro. So, Susan, did you decide to use coconut milk or to not use coconut milk?
Why, Daniel told you I don't like coconut?
Yes, he told me. He told on
I
you.
decided to go with what you said. I got coconut milk.
Awesome. Okay. Once your onions and garlic and stuff have started to give off a nice smell, throw in your cilantro or parsley stems. Give it a swish. Back on the stove. Once your aromatics look good, they've given off some nice a nice aroma, and your stems are in there. It's time to add your water and your coconut milk, and some salt. So to this, I'm adding 4 cups of water. I'm just feeding 2 people. We'll have one little bit left over, maybe.
Dan, is there a reason we're not using a vegetable broth? Can we use a vegetable broth?
You could, but if you're using full fat coconut milk, you really don't need vegetable broth. So, you know, I would save it for something else.
Okay. Good.
Okay, I'm getting behind. You put the stems in and then the leaves of the cilantro, right?
No, don't put the leaves in yet.
Okay.
Just the stems.
Nancy,
Yes.
how many bags of peas, or I just want to make sure I only have 1 bag. So should I still add 4 cups of water?
How many ounces is it? Look at the bag. Is it
16.
okay? So you're a little shy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would cut back. I would put 3 cups of water.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, got the stems in, now the water?
Yep. Now your water and your coconut milk or your other plant milk is gonna go in, and a little salt. About just do a teaspoon of salt to start off. We'll test that later. I like to put salt in with what I'm cooking, but not too much because you can't take it out.
So is coconut milk this big, thick stuff?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the, if it was whole milk, it would be the cream on the top of the whole milk.
Looks like Crisco.
Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean.
So we're putting the coconut milk in now?
Yep.
A tablespoon or?
The whole can.
Oh, the whole can. Okay. I would have been a little short. Okay.
Yeah, just dump the whole can in there.
Okay.
Once you've got all that in there and your salt, we're gonna bring that all up to a simmer. Not a boil.
Okay.
Oh, I just thought of something. What might taste, you know, if you decide that you really like this and you want to do it again and, you know, you're not a cilantro fan, I was just thinking, I wonder how mint would taste with this. I'll bet it,
Peas.
yummers. I wish I'd thought of that before. But it would be, I think it would be great. All right, so get your temp up on your pot there. And you can chop up the rest of your herbs now if you want, so that they're ready to go when it's time.
So what are we chopping now?
The rest of your herbs, I'm just getting them ready.
It's just the cilantro, right?
Yeah, so some people,
Yeah, I didn't.
I said herbs because people are using parsley and different things.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not trying to trick you. I didn't have other herbs that were going in that I left out of the recipe, so you'd be screwed. Don't you love that? People do that. They give you a recipe and they leave out the one ingredient. Does that ever happen to anybody? It's happened to me.
Looks pretty.
Yeah, isn't it pretty? Wait till you have peas in there. Oh, I almost forgot the lime's juice. Get your limes ready too. And I never buy one lime when I know I'm going to need limes. I buy probably at least 6. Because limes are funny. I actually saw some limes at the supermarket telling each other jokes one day. They were so funny. Anyway, they can be really juicy or really dry. So it's better to have a couple extra in case you end up with a dry lime. And to get them to release their juices, it's good to roll them on the counter first before you cut them.
Late for that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's all right.
So I know the trick, but I just was getting anxious.
Don't get anxious about cooking class. There are way more important things to get anxious about. And even then, it doesn't help. All right. So has everybody got their, are things starting to simmer now?
Just about. Oh yes, they are.
Good. All right. So now goes it. Your peas go in. If your broth is simmering, your peas go in. Half of or 3/4 of whatever herbs you're using goes in. You want to save a little for garnish, and your lime juice. Peas, herbs, lime juice. So does everyone have an immersion blender? Is anyone not using an immersion blender? Oh, you're gonna have to use a regular blender? Yeah. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the soup first, so that it can cool off a little bit before you put it in the blender, because I've had some disasters with that sort of thing. And like I said in my email, if you like blended soups, or you think you're gonna like them, or whatever, these things are not expensive, immersion blenders. This one actually came to me through marriage. I didn't have one, but Andy brought it with him. It was one of the few things he was allowed to keep when he moved in with me. Poor guy. Anyway,
Sorry, Nan.
Yeah.
I missed the salt.
Okay. It's
Salt.
about a teaspoon per, I put a teaspoon in mine. For every 4 cups, about a teaspoon of salt. For every 4 cups of liquid. Did you get that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anyway, these little gizmos are amazing. I love my immersion blender. When this one dies, I'm going to treat myself to one that's stainless steel.
Yes, they are the best. I've been using them for years.
It's like, where were you all my life?
Yes.
And of course, Andy still thinks I'm talking about him when I say that.
The lemon juice goes in, right?
Lime juice, but yeah.
Lemon juice.
Yep. Time to go in. Goes in with the peas. Good, so we're gonna let that cook for, I don't know, not too long. Just enough until the peas get tender, and that doesn't take very long because they're frozen. They're like sort of semi-cooked already. Yeah, so if you don't have an immersion blender, put it on your wish list. Send notes to people. This is what I want for, I don't know, May Day, not your birthday. You get something bigger for your birthday. I wish I was an affiliate, or I had an affiliate thing on Amazon, because I would have everybody go there and just, or not go there, you don't have to go to Amazon. You could probably find one of these guys anywhere. Target, Walmart. You might even be able to find one, you know, you could probably find one at, what do you call it? Ace Hardware. I'll bet they have them.
I couldn't find one on Walmart.
Oh no? Okay.
Nope.
So my friend who had the heart transplant, Miri, do you remember Jose?
Familiar. Tell me from where.
You danced with him at my wedding.
Yes, that's it. I know who.
Yep.
So totally as an aside, man, I don't even know if I got a chance to tell you. So I have had high cholesterol for years. And the doctor, you know, at some point, the good cholesterol was high as well. But eventually the doctor told me that I need to get on one of the statins, and I tried Lipitor. Within days, I felt awful. It's like somebody sucked my energy dry. He then gave me Crestor. He had samples. Again, the same thing. I kept not using, and I'm talking about years of not using this. And finally, the last time I went to him, he said, you know, there's an injection that I can give you. It also has side effects. And he stopped and said, you know what, why don't we send you for a CT scan? And I went to get the CT scan. Again, I put it off for a long time, but this was very recent. It scans your heart, see calcification, and as a result, to see your susceptibility to have a cardiovascular disease. And the result, can I say knock on wood, touch wood, everything was 0.
Nice.
Good.
0. So here I am with this high cholesterol that everybody has been like, you know, I needed some minor surgery, and they looked at the blood work and they go, oh God, your cholesterol is so high. And everybody that ever looked at it, insurance, whatever, it was all about the high cholesterol. And so, and I've been vegetarian for close to 30 years. So, and I've cut out a lot of the dairy stuff for I do still have some dairy, but for the most part. So it was really interesting, but
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad your CAT scan came back that way, and I'm actually not surprised, because high cholesterol is not necessarily an issue, especially if your good cholesterol is also high. Now, that said, our bodies need cholesterol, but we make our own. And so when we ingest more cholesterol from non-plant-based sources, okay, so dairy, eggs, those things are not good for your cholesterol. And the study that came out that said eggs that were okay again was done by guess who? The egg people. So, you know, if cholesterol is an issue for you, or if heart disease is an issue, you gotta get rid of the dairy, you gotta get rid of the eggs, you probably, if you have heart disease, you shouldn't even be having coconut milk or any fats at all, at least until you get stabilized. And I don't want to be responsible for that. But
Yeah, I need to tell that in everything that I've read, the nuts, actually, you know, if you have high cholesterol, nuts are not dangerous to have. Even they say that, because I like to eat pumpkin seeds, that they actually help lower the cholesterol. Now, go figure who's doing that study. But the interesting thing is that, you know, when I say the zero, it's also an indication that they're not seeing plaque or the
exactly, your body is
result of the damage that plaque
right,
causes.
right.
That's the interesting thing.
Yeah, it's not a death sentence. Having high cholesterol is not necessarily a death sentence. It depends on how your body manages the cholesterol. And that's part of the problem with all of this, is because each one of us is so different. And that's one of the reasons why doctors have such a hard time trying to figure out what to do, because they want to find one thing that works for everybody, and they can't always. And people do have strong, and by the way, those cholesterol lowering drugs, you know how much cholesterol your brain needs? It needs a shitload. I don't know what that is, because I can't measure a shitload, but it needs a lot. And when you take those cholesterol lowering drugs, it takes it from the brain as well as from your blood. So now you've got this imbalance going on. You've got this thing where they're trying to get the cholesterol out of your blood, but the drug doesn't know any different. It's just clearing out cholesterol everywhere.
I kind of felt like my body was telling me no, you know, and I was saying maybe I need cholesterol. I don't know, but yes,
yeah.
I felt like my body was screaming, "Don't do this."
Well, kudos for you for following through on that and not, you know, and not just doing what they said, because they just don't know. Unfortunately, we have to take responsibility for what's happening. We have to do the research. We have to find the support systems that are going to go into place for us. Complete good nutrition is a very complicated thing. It isn't simple. When they take curcumin out of the turmeric and say, okay, it's the curcumin that you need, so we're going to take it out of the turmeric and put it in a little capsule, and if you take that, that's going to help you. No. You have to eat the turmeric root. If they take the lycopene out of the tomato, synthesize it, put it into a pill and give it to you because you have a condition that requires lycopene, guess what? It doesn't work. You need to eat the tomato because the tomato has a complex chemical, biological function that we don't understand at all yet. And so it's better to eat your carrot for your eyes than it is to take a pill that has carotenoids in it for your eyes. And all of that, and because then your body can synergistically work with what you're putting in it. So, and this is why, you know, and the other part is, I'm getting all excited because I'm so worried about Jose. And I have a friend, a very dear friend. She's actually one of the two women, one of them's here today, who is responsible for me doing this now. It was kind of her idea that I should start doing this sort of thing. And her husband was just about a month and a half ago diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Her whole freaking life is completely upside down. It came out of the blue. They eat a relatively healthy diet. He's in relatively good shape. He's young, he's like 50 something. And they got smacked in the head with this. So I'm like, God, why didn't you listen to me 30 years ago? I've been telling you this for 30 years. Stop eating that stuff. Tell him to stop smoking those cigars. With his brothers when they come to visit. And you know, and who knows? Even if they had done what I said umpteen years ago, there's no guarantee. I'm not saying that. I just get very Crusader Rabbit when these things start happening to my friends and my family. All right, your soup should be at the stage where it needs a little taste. If you haven't already tasted it, get a little spoon in there, take a little sip and see if it needs any salt. I'm going to taste mine. For mine, the verdict is yes, it needs salt. So season your soup to your liking. You may want to add a little black pepper, whatever you like. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and turn the heat off under your soup. And once you've done that, we're going to get started on the biscuits. So just turn the heat off your soup and leave it. You might want to go back to taste it again after it's sat for a little bit. And we're going to get going on the biscuits. So first you're going to mix together your flour, baking powder, and salt in your bowl.
How about gluten-free powder, like gluten-free flour, like half and half?
Absolutely. You can use any gluten-free one-to-one, like Bob's Red Mill or Arrowhead Mills makes a good one. They're all good. You can use that exclusively. Biscuits are actually really easy to do gluten-free. Things like biscuits and scones and stuff like that. Those are, it works really well, gluten-free and those things. It's those breads that need to rise that they don't do too well.
How much did you say?
2 cups. 2 cups. 2 cups. Two cups of your flour or flour substitute and 1 tablespoon of a baking powder. So I got a funny story to tell you. Last Monday, I went to the dentist. I had a crown that I needed to deal with. I wanted to make it go bye-bye and replace it because it's nasty. So I go to the dentist and I have my usual experience at the dentist. It's almost always less than pleasant, but at least he's funny. And I go home, I have some lunch, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm looking in the mirror, and I say to myself, he did the wrong tooth. I had a total Clouseau moment. You know that scene in this where he's at the sanitarium? Oh, no, he's at the castle. He's pretending to be the dentist because Dreyfus has a bad tooth. And Dreyfus looks in the mirror and he goes, oh, he just pulled the wrong tooth. Oh, kill him. So I'm standing there looking at myself in the mirror and I'm saying, I have to kill him. So I called the office.
You did the wrong time.
I said, George did the wrong tooth. And they're like, what? Oh my God, we have to talk to him. Ooh, I have to find out what happened in his little doctor brain. We'll have him call you. So he calls me back. I don't know, a couple hours later, I was just getting ready to leave to go teach in Kent. And I answer the phone and he goes, hi, it's George. I'm like, hi, George. How's it going? Yeah, I'm fine. So they told me to call you. And I said, oh, they didn't tell you why. He said, no. And I said, Clouseau, you have pulled the wrong tooth. And he said to me, what are you talking about? I'm like, George, you've been in this pandemic too long. You don't remember my sense of humor? You did the wrong crown. He goes, no, I didn't. Let's see. The one behind it it needs replacing, but it's fine. And the one in front of it, it's a really ugly crown, but there's nothing wrong with it. The one I replaced had a crack in it and there was decay under it. You were going to lose the tooth. And I said, oh, all right. Well, I guess we'll just carry on and we'll do the next one next time I come in. But it was just hysterical because nobody got my sense of humor, and usually they do.
I ask you a question. For the biscuits, is there a teaspoon of salt that goes in them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I mix them all into one little thing.
I see.
And
Okay.
to make sure.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. Once you've got your dry ingredients, you can go ahead and cut in your shortening. I'm using Earth Balance because I want it to have a little bit of a buttery flavor. Miyoko's makes a great butter replacement, but it is made from coconut oil, and you can taste the coconut in it. So I tell people that because I don't want them going out and getting it and then saying, I ate coconut. Why did you do that to me? Sorry. Okay. So the recipe says a cup of mashed potatoes. I'm going to use a sweet potato because I happen to have one in my fridge, they're already baked. And I'm not measuring it. I'm just going to peel that sweet potato and I'm going to use the whole thing and pray that it comes out all right.
We're putting that in as well now, right?
Cutting in the shortening and your mashed or your sweet, your potato, whatever you've chosen. Actually, I'm going to mash it up first because it's looking like it doesn't want to play nice.
What does cutting in mean exactly? I've never made biscuits before.
Okay. Well, cutting in usually means that you're using either 2 knives or a pastry cutter, so that what's happening is you're slowly incorporating the fat into the flour. I'm going to use my hands, so I'll show you what that looks like in a sec if you want to see that. Most of the time, you don't want to use your hands because your hands are going to make the shortening warm, and you want to try to keep it as cold as possible. But for these biscuits, you know, and especially if you're doing something like that, you want that flaky texture, like a scone or something, you might want to avoid using your hands for something like that, or any kind of pie dough. It's really important that that stay really, really cold. So, but I'm figuring, you know what? My sweet potato is ice cold. I'm gonna rinse my hands off under cold water, and then I'm gonna get in there.
Have we put in the milk?
Not yet, unless you're done working in the other stuff. Okay, in goes my mashed sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. Who doesn't love sweet potatoes?
I don't love sweet potatoes.
Really? Okay.
I like them mashed up, so I think they would be good in biscuits.
Yeah.
But all by themselves, I just
No, huh?
not in favor.
Okay.
So are you putting the potato in before the butter?
Nope, it's all going in together.
Okay.
I just threw it in. And
Okay.
so what I'm doing is I'm sort of squeezing the flour and the shortening and the sweet potato together. Now the last time I made these, I used regular white potatoes. It came out just ducky. So another reason why maybe you wouldn't want to do it this way with your hands is if you have like an inflammation, if you have arthritis and your hands hurt. Or maybe you have something else going on where your hands can't take this kind of work. I find it satisfying to get my hands in there and mash things up. And you're just sort of squeezing it through. You want it to start to resemble a crumbly sort of thing. And you want to get the pieces of shortening and potato, not so much. You don't have to worry about that. That's going to get squished in there real good. But the shortening, you want it to start to look kind of like
Coarse sand.
huh?
Coarse sand.
Coarse sand? Yeah, very coarse sand for sure. So so that what that means is you're going to have pieces of your shortening still sort of viable. They're not going to disappear. You're going to still be able to see them. Okay. Well, I'm happy with mine. Do you need to see it? Gina,
Yes.
you want me to show it? You want me to get it up closer to the camera for you?
Yes, please. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nancy, help you show it. Talk. That way say something.
Oh, what do you want me to say?
Oh, that's it. You said it, so now you're coming up.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Is that how it was?
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to switch my audio because my AirPod just dropped into my batter. And that's no fun, you know? Let's get that done. No, I want audio.
And we still haven't added the milk, correct?
Correct. Correct. Okay, I just switched my audio because one of my AirPods fell into my dough, and I'm not playing that. So the audio is going to be a little different now because I'm using my Mac. Okay. Now, once you've got your biscuit mix all crumbly, nice, go ahead and add your milk.
What about the oven? Should we preheat the oven now?
That's a good idea. Yes, thank you. 450.
And how much milk, Nancy?
3 tablespoons.
And what are we heating the oven to?
450.
You said 2 tablespoons, right?
3.
3 tablespoons.
And then I would use a fork to combine the liquid with the dry. And this always feels a little too dry to me, but I'm going to give it another minute or two. And then I'm just going to kind of get in there with my hands and squeeze it and see how it feels. And I think this feels a little dry to me. So I'm going to actually add another teaspoon of milk. So for those of you who were in the last class, one of the guys in the class for the substitute for the wine was used coffee, and unfortunately this person doesn't drink coffee, and all they had in the house was instant espresso. So that's what he used. And I'm like, oh no, why didn't you ask me? I would have said, no, just add more broth or water, anything but that. The poor guy, his bourguignon came out very, very bitter, and he was up all night. Poor guy. All right. So once you've got your dough at a place where you can squish it together, where it starts to hold together, then you're going to knead it a little. Kneading in the dry bits.
Nancy, I used coffee and it came out delicious.
Well, you use brewed coffee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference, you know? I mean, instant, God, oh, poor guy. I felt so bad because he was so excited about doing it, you know? Okay. So here's my biscuit dough is ready to go. And I'm going to, I don't usually roll out biscuit dough. I usually press it out. But I think the sweet potato is making this feel a little denser to me than what I'm used to. So I'm actually going to roll it out this time because I think I want my biscuits to be just a little bit shorter in stature than.
You just press it out on the vacuum?
That's what I usually do. I do. I just sort of press it out, you know, until it. Let me show you. But I'm going to roll this batch, but I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so you just kind of get it there, and I just use the palm of my hand and then my fingers, but this feels too dense to me, so and then you just keep going until you have the thickness that you want. I would recommend that you make them fairly thick, more than an inch, like an inch and a half thick, but that's, again, it's up to you. Let me get my rolling pin.
How are you gonna get 10 muffins out of it?
You keep it going. You gotta keep going. What's the matter, you? You keep going. All right. So you can see I made mine, actually it's about an inch thick, not an inch and a half. If you want to look at this, you can see pretty much, let's see if I can get in there. Can you see? Yeah, that looks good.
Does that look too thick?
Yeah, it does, a little too thick. I would take it down a notch. Okay, and then when you're ready, start cutting your biscuits out. If you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can use a water glass. When you place your biscuits on your baking sheet, you want to put them so that they're touching each other. They don't like COVID either. They miss being around their friends. So put them so that they're touching each other. I might only get 9 out of this batch. And then you just keep redoing the dough. Well, that biscuit's gonna have some cilantro and garlic in it. Uh-oh. Don't tell anybody. Everybody doing okay? Okay. Yeah, your peas should be tender, Susan. I don't know when you said that to me. I'm sorry.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
That's all right.
All right. So this batch of biscuits, I only got 8 decent ones out of. So I
got
lied.
11, so
You got 11. Awesome.
not thick enough.
Well, I'm sure they'll be fine. Okay. Miri, it sounds like my house over there. Gina, did you do something to your hair? Did you get it cut?
No, it's pretty long.
It looks good.
I might chop it off for the summer again.
Oh, okay.
I might do a Nancy Opgard.
Ruh-roh.
here.
I've been getting a lot of feedback about my hair lately. All good, but still, I like your hair long. I like your hair short. When are you going to cut it? Why aren't you going to let it grow? Please don't cut it. Oh, when are you going to cut it? Oh my God. All right.
I know why I got a dozen because I used a smaller
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
smaller round.
There you go. That works. So I actually videotaped the last class we did, and I have to go back in and really edit it because there's these really long stretches of time where I'm just sort of standing there going while everybody was doing their thing. But otherwise it was okay. You could totally follow it, and I got to do that. All right. I think we lost Jackie. Yeah. All right, if your oven is up to temperature and you would like to put your biscuits in, go ahead. They're only going to take 12 to 15 minutes depending on your oven. So I would, check them in 12. If you're not there yet, don't worry. If your oven's not up to temp yet, now might be a good time to see about doing some of the blending of your soup. If you're done making the biscuits, but your oven's not ready, so blending the soup is totally, your personal preference. Some people like their soups really super creamy, and other people prefer them to be a little on the chunkier side or something in between. I like to be able to tell what I'm eating. I don't like it to be too pureed unless I'm making something like a butternut squash puree or something like that. that it really should be really soupy. I made a cream of broccoli soup a couple weeks ago, and I had like a ton of kale that needed to have something done with it. So the kale went into the blender, and I pureed the kale in the blender. I made the soup and then just added the raw kale to the soup after it was all done and ate it like that. It was pretty darn good.
Mm.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm sorry I didn't write down what I did. But I didn't.
So we should start blending at any time.
Yep, you can start if you're ready to blend your soup, or if you're ready to put your biscuits in. If your oven's up to temp and you want to put your biscuits in, go ahead. If it's not up to temp and you want to start playing with the soup a little bit, go ahead. I'm going to start blending mine.
This is very quiet. Is it going to be... That's the sound of your blender?
Yeah,
It's so quiet.
I know. Another reason why I love it. All right. How's it going, guys? Are the biscuits in the oven yet?
A minute.
Going straight to the bottom.
Okay.
What?
You
Gino,
went straight to the bottle.
you went what? You went straight to the bottle. What are you
You
talking?
went straight to the bottle.
Oh, yeah, my Pellegrino, yeah.
I have a blender question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I tend to just move it all around, but then you could just leave it in one place and everything comes to it, right?
Yes.
The blending?
Yeah, it sort of sucks it in.
That's beautiful.
It's cool, isn't it? All right. My biscuits are going in. What's not working, Mary?
I think I'm gonna wait a while for mine to cool to put in the big blender because I don't have the hand blender.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
think it's safer.
Do it in batches, you know, don't do it all at once. Definitely do it in batches.
Yeah.
Or just wait
I haven't
until.
done that in so long because I love my immersion blender too, but I don't have it where I am.
Ah. Where are you?
I have one of those NutriBullets. Every time I put soup in, that it went hot, and it fused the bottom of the blender to the top of it.
Oops.
Be unusable.
Oh my
I hit
God.
it with a hammer.
Oh. Oh, that's awful. So Gina, where are you?
I'm in Florida.
What?
I'm in Florida, yay.
Okay. You
Yeah, we drive the dogs down for their yearly vacation.
Oh, nice. The dogs get the vacation, huh?
Yeah. Yep. But there's like hardly anything in this house, so it's a little struggle.
Yeah.
But I did pretty good, pretty well.
Yeah.
Go down to Florida because of what's outside.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. We've been living on like takeout because it's such a novelty and like all ethnic. We just go around the world, like whatever ethnic food we can find. Like there's everything here. We're in West Palm, so there's
Okay.
a big
Yeah.
Cuban population here, and
Yeah.
there's just and some in Cornwall. It's a little hard to get some variations on things. So
Yeah. Unless
it's a
you
treat.
learn how to make them yourself.
Yeah, well, I know. Thanks to you, now I make Chinese food.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, that's cool. The biscuits are so cool. I never made biscuits before. They look kind of good.
Yeah, you'll love them. And like I said, biscuits are one of the easy things to make gluten-free.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get the, you
Yeah.
know, I whip up biscuits now, you know, pretty much anytime we have soup, I'm like, oh, I forgot to get some nice bread to go with the soup. Biscuits, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that came together rather quickly. And it wasn't like a huge mess.
No,
It's like,
it's one bowl
yeah.
and a baking sheet. Yeah, and if
like the potato idea.
yeah, well, it's great. It gives it a nice texture. I make also, if we're having like Mexican, if I make like a Mexican chili or something, I'll make jalapeno cheddar biscuits without the real cheddar, of course. I make them vegan, but you know, when people are asking me, "Oh, are we having eggs?" No, that's tofu. I know I hit the mark. Or when one of my daughters-in-law says, "So that was a really good meatloaf." I'm like, "Yeah, there was no meat in that loaf."
Yeah.
There's no cheese in this? Are you kidding me? Nope, no cheese.
How do you know when the biscuits are done? What's the test?
Well, they should be a little golden brown and a little puffy. But give them 12 to 15 minutes depending on your oven. I set my timer for 12 minutes and then I check them and then I will go let them stay in for 2-minute increments after that if they don't look quite done enough to me. So, but they should be a nice golden brown, not overly brown, and the bottom should be also a nice golden color, not a dark.
If you've used whole wheat flour, it's harder to tell the golden brown. Isn't
It is. It's a little more difficult, but use your timer and then check them and then just kind of, you can also sort of tap on them to feel if they have like they're not going to be hollow. They're not going to make a hollow sound, but you can tap the crust. You can also turn them upside down and look at the bottom. And if the bottom looks a lot darker, then they're probably getting really close to being done.
Nancy, I had to give up on, well, I never, ever, 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 ever liked milk. I hated it. It made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And I can really remember being like, I must have only been 2 or 3. And when we were really little, my father worked on dairy farms.
Mm.
And, you know, I used to try to tell my parents it was making me sick to my stomach. It literally was.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, back then they just thought, you know, milk, it's so good for you.
Right.
But anyway, you know, fast forward, I haven't had dairy. I didn't have dairy for years, but I did. I did love cheese, and that is dairy. But I gave it up about completely, like, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, when I thought it was going to be the hardest thing in the universe for me to give up, and it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It really wasn't.
Yeah.
And
And
now if I have it, obviously I feel it right away.
yeah. Yeah, so do I now.
Yeah.
And I never had a very strong reaction to dairy. I always loved it. I never had a problem with it, digesting it or anything. But but I just, you know, I just don't eat it anymore. And there are so many ways you can get that same sort of cheese flavor if you want to have that without having to use, without dairy. There's just so, and the things they're coming out with now, and it's insane. Some of it is so good, but I prefer to make my own because it's a processed food product.
Sure.
So I try to limit that. I mean, that's for special occasions. I'll do it, but mostly I don't. You know, I mean, when we used to get together at Christmas, instead of making the traditional cream cheese ball that looks like a Christmas tree with olives and rosemary sticking out of it and everything, I made a cashew cheese one, and nobody knew the difference. And I didn't even say anything. I just say, "Here, eat that." And my crew, they're just like, "Okay, give me something to put it on," you know. And my husband is not even vegetarian, but he just eats whatever I cook. So I don't know what he does when he's not home, but that's up to him. He's a big boy.
Right.
but he's noticed a very big difference in his arthritis since he started eating exclusively the way I cook. A couple of years ago, he was looking at, doing the drugs for the psoriatic arthritis, and because everybody kept telling him, oh, it's going to improve your quality of life, it's going to be so great, you're going to be so happy, and he was really considering it. And then I just said, you know what? Crusader Rabbit has just shown up, and we're not doing this anymore. You do what you want outside of the house, but this is what's happening in the house. And
I truly believe.
yep. And now it's.
You just made me think of something too. So I had I'm bone on bone in both thumbs with arthritis, and I keep putting off the surgery because it's pretty involved and there's a lot of downtime. And I just cut some other foods out. And my sister was just asking me about it, and I was saying for some reason, and we've been changing our diet, and I said for some reason I'm definitely, they're not hurting me.
Yeah, you're not feeling as much pain. Definitely.
No.
You've probably started reducing a lot of inflammation around that area.
Yeah.
And just keep it up, Patty. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's, yeah. I mean, like I said, I got a lot of years more out of my left hip than anybody thought I was going to. And honestly, a couple of years ago, it's probably 4 years now. My left hip was bothering me so bad that I was limping. And that's when I said, all right, well, you got to go check it out. I got an x-ray. My doctor said, yeah, just find an orthopedic guy now and make the appointment. You need that hip replaced. And I said, okay. And then I had some blood work done because I was suspicious about my B12 and my D levels. And it turns out I was correct that my D levels were dangerously low. And I was low, my 12 was low too, which wasn't a surprise to me. Anyway, I started taking D supplements and B12, which all, people who are only eating plants should be taking a B12 supplement because you really can't get it from the plants we have available. And I'll talk about that some other time too. But anyway, a few months of taking the D, the 12, and going in my sauna 3 times a week. I went back a couple of years later for a well visit, and she said, so did you have your hip replaced? And I said, oh no, I forgot all about it. It doesn't hurt anymore. And she said, what have you been doing? You must write this down. I'm like, nah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now it's starting to bother me again, so I don't know. It could be, I've bought as much time as I can. I don't know, but I'm going to have it checked and see what's going on, and maybe do something else again. Okay, I have just checked my biscuits, and I think they need 2 more minutes. Mine need 2 more minutes. How's everybody else's biscuits looking? Ooh, look at those.
Wait a second. I can't hold them up so you can see them.
I'm going
Like little tops.
Oh my God, they're awesome.
Tops.
Look at that.
Because I had extra.
Oh, look what you did. Look at what she did. How cute is that?
It looked like tam o' shanters, which is not Irish, is it?
I love it.
Now I'm getting hungry because it all smells very good.
Yeah.
And guess what? These little balls fall off really, really easily.
Just use a toothpick, Susan.
It's like a donut hole.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
It's good.
Okay.
Bring it back.
So mine came out pretty awesome too. And I can smell the sweet potato, but it doesn't smell like overpowering. They're huge. I did that too, Gina.
It's like, duh.
Stop touching the hot pan. All right. Okay, so where's Mary? Oh, there still. That's Mama.
Here. Ours, excuse me, ours here.
Yeah.
Need a little more time.
How are you doing? Are you doing good?
This and the biscuits need a few more minutes.
Your soup is done now. Did everybody taste their soup and adjust the seasonings?
Say that again?
I said, did everyone taste their soup and adjust the seasonings? Cool. Sometimes I like to add a little extra splash of lime juice because that sort of brightens it all back up again, but I don't want it to taste like lime, so that's can be a little tricky.
What do you sometimes do?
I just squeeze a little bit of more lime at the end, or just before I serve it. But I don't want it to taste too much like lime. I really want to taste the peas. So, you do what you want with that.
Biscuits are good.
Did you taste one? Yeah? Mmm. Oh, I'm loving the sweet potato.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Really good. So did you guys know that there's more vitamin C in broccoli than there is in oranges? Just throw out some random shit for you to think about.
Five club.
They're good, huh?
Yeah. I know we put like a shitload of butter in there, but I just put butter on top. Sorry.
I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, Gina, but I will scold you if I catch you eating real butter.
I know. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
So, gluten-free biscuits and scones are easy to do.
So now
I now know that.
we still have that cilantro, right?
Now you're just going to garnish on your individual
That's
bowls.
what that was for. Okay. That's what I figured.
Some toasted nuts on top of this would taste good too, like some chopped cashews or something if you like that. Also, like I said before, mint. A little mint would be delicious on the peas. Okay, so I think we're at a place where we can start to at least think about wrapping things up. Does anybody have any questions that I'm actually capable of answering.
Are you going to send like the actual recipe? 'Cause some of the things you just told us, 2 tablespoons of this, 3 of that.
If you want the recipe, absolutely, I'm happy to send you the actual recipe.
Or we could just remember.
Well, you could, or, you know, when I post this video, you'll get it again. But I can send you the recipe. It's not a big deal. I'll be happy to do that.
That would be nice. I would like that.
Okay, then I will send you the recipe. Also, don't forget, I will need your snail mail addresses because I do want to send you a copy of that book, the China study. Yeah, if you haven't read it, I think it's an important read for anyone who has even any remote interest in their dietary health and well-being. It's an eye-opener. It's not a new book. It's been around a long time, but its information it's important, and I think that's a good place to start with that sort of thing. So I'm going to let you send me your mailing address, and I will do that. What else?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. The next time we're having an opportunity to meet will be again at the end of the month. I think I was thinking of the 27th. I'm not sure yet. I got to double check on that. Anyway, it'll be close to April, and the subject will be detoxing.
What is it?
Detoxing. So we're going to talk about what does that really mean. We're also going to talk about juicing and smoothies and the difference and why you might want to consider juicing. We'll talk about that. I'll talk about equipment. What else? We will make something. Not sure what yet, but I'll figure out something for us to actually prepare that will be in line with that thinking. But I thought it would be a good time. Spring, detox, let's do it, right?
Spring cleaning.
Spring cleaning from the inside out, yeah. And also there's a lot of misinformation about detoxing in the internet world and in just our world in general. There's a lot of, I call it unhelpful information. So we're going to look at that. And you'll get the usual notice, email, whatever, with as many details as I can come up with as soon as I can, so that if it's something you're interested in doing, you'll have plenty of time to figure out whether or not that's going to work on your schedule, blah, blah, blah. All right. Does anybody have anything they want to say? Anything they would like to ask me?
I'm gonna eat dinner.
That's a good girl. All right. So Susan's out. She's going to go eat dinner.
This was fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah,
It
you
was
too.
fun. It was fun. So, Patty, maybe at some point, if you wouldn't mind, it's up to you. I want to respect your privacy, but I know you mentioned something about your husband having some advice from his doctor, and if you ever want to talk to me about that and maybe get some more stuff you can do, I'm happy to help you with that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd love it.
Bye, Susan. Susan's
Bye-bye.
leaving.
Bye, Nancy. See you soon. Bye,
Okay,
everybody.
Patty. Have a good
Bye.
night. You guys enjoy your food. You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you too, Mary. Mwah.
Oh, did everybody leave?
Yeah, they're gone.
Thanks, Nan. I'm gonna run over to Shelly and Allegra's with the hot soup.
Awesome. Tell them I said hi.
I will, lovey.
Aw.
Bye.
Bye.
Say hi to Andy.
I will. And that's a wrap.